Hey there, everybody. This is Kristen from Teaching Balance, and I am here with you for this week's 10-minute mindfulness meditation. And as you can see, I've kind of shifted some things around. We're having some issues with the filming and the camera the other way, so we're going to give this a try and see how it works. If you actually prefer this, obviously anything's better than the flickering, but if you prefer this view or think it kind of looks cooler or whatever, please let me know because we might want to stick with this. That could be kind of fun, actually. So, for this month, we are focusing on getting comfortable with discomfort and allowing ourselves to be present with whatever might be going on for us in that moment. And if you remember last week, we played a little bit with this idea of bringing to mind a circumstance, not a super heavy, deep circumstance that we are having issues with, but maybe something a little bit smaller, and just playing with this idea of allowing it to be here, surrendering to it in some capacity, etc. So I thought it would be interesting after taking something that's more external to, for this week, doing something that's a little bit more internal. And by that, I mean actually doing kind of the same thing, but with your practice. Because if you are like me, I'm going to assume that there have been times when you're practicing, when you're meditating, where you're just kind of questioning, like, God, is this really how it is? Is this how it's supposed to be? And sometimes, at least for me, I don't actually do particularly long sits. I really do just do 10 minutes first thing in the morning every day. And so as a result, I don't necessarily get to settle too deeply or feel like my mind gets to really rest too much. And so as a result of that, I often find that my meditations, even though I know I'm reaping the benefits of them and I can feel that, they also sometimes just still feel very kind of like nonstop thinking coming back over and over and over again. So I just wanted to speak to that and additionally allow the fact that that is the truth for many of us much of the time, and to use that as something that we can play with and allow to be present and maybe just have a little bit more of acceptance for. So go ahead and get started. I'm going to invite you to find your seat, and I'm going to start my timer. So sitting in a way that is upright but not rigid. Stacking that vertebrae, rolling those shoulders back. And as always, taking a few of those 3 deep breaths. Allowing yourself to settle into your body, to be present in this moment for these 10 minutes. And as we did last week, just lightly touching on the reminder of the 3 anchors. You can rest your awareness on the breath or on the body or on sounds. And if you care to, you can shift between them, whatever you need to do to continue to come back and ground yourself in the present moment. Noticing the breath or sounds or the body. And if you're like me, if you haven't already, very shortly you're going to notice that your mind has wandered. And if it's helpful to think of it this way, you can think of that wandering as almost like an old friend. There it goes. That's just how it is. And bringing a humor to it. It's very tempting to feel like when we find that we have been lost in thought during our meditation, it's so easy to just get frustrated and aggravated and in some cases feel like giving up. But as we did with the other practice this month, I'm going to invite you to just radically accept the fact that this is the way it is. Some days you might find that it's easier for you to be more present, and some days it's that much harder. But all of those experiences have equal value. You're still benefiting, as we discussed. And so in allowing yourself to truly surrender to the fact that this is all part of meditation. You are surrendering to the fact that this is what you signed up for when you choose to meditate. And with that surrendering and with that accepting, even if you can do that only in this context, only in the context of accepting and surrendering to the fact that your mind is going to wander over and over when you practice, that in and of itself not only strengthens your capacity to practice, but also could affect other elements and areas of your life. You're becoming better at and more adept and more experienced when it comes to accepting and surrendering. So you're actually cultivating a very valuable skill. Noticing where the mind is now. And if it's wandered, this is your chance. Your chance to just notice, I'm thinking, I'm worrying. There's that thought about whomever. Bringing that playfulness to it. And then bringing your attention back to one of your anchors. And noticing if, for this practice or any other practice in the future, you do feel a strong sense of presence and you don't feel like your mind is wandering all that much. Knowing that that is pleasing and enjoyable and something to aspire to, but also not necessarily something to cling to. It's easy to get caught up when we achieve what it was that we perhaps set out to achieve. But experiences like that are just like any other experience. And our job is to be present to them and to do so in a way that is outside of the realm of judgment. Just allowing whatever is to be here, particularly when we don't have control over the circumstances. yourself to notice where the mind is. And if it is present on an anchor, noticing that. And if your mind has wandered into thought, playing images in your mind that are either memories or perhaps plans or ideas, hopes, worries. Just noticing that. Allowing it to be. Allowing the fact that it happened to be. And then very gently and with compassion, bringing your attention back to the present. Part of this is about bringing compassion to yourself and your practice. And the thing that underscores that compassion is a quality of acceptance and surrendering. And so for the final minute or so, allowing us to do our best to try to maintain that presence. But whenever we notice that the mind has possibly wandered, those last few moments, continuing to bring that quality of acceptance, lightness, and surrender to the fact that this is just how it is right now. And doing that until the final bell. Okay, and that is 10 minutes. So I hope that you found that particular practice of really radically accepting and surrendering to whatever the current circumstance might be for our practice, to be of value. We don't really talk too much about practice itself and how it feels and how, we might have some doubts and things like that. So this was a nice opportunity, I think, to just remind ourselves that that's kind of the nature of the beast. So thank you as always for being willing to be here and practice. Of course, thank you for allowing me to be your practice guide on this journey. And I look forward to practicing with you next week. Take care.